Hey there, guys, gals, and non-binary pals. GM Potter here. Welcome to my channel where I talk about books and bookish things. I upload on Tuesdays and Thursdays with some extra videos sprinkled in here and there as the spirit moves me. I am an independent author, an avid reader, and a cat mom of 3. And today we're trying something a little bit different because my TBR is out of control. I have a half-height bookcase that is absolutely full. There's books stacked on top, and then I have a rolling cart beside it that is also TBR. Plus some extra books sprinkled throughout in the bedroom, books that are either mine or my partner's, and I have books everywhere, and I need to start going through them more. So I thought I would pick 10 books at random from the bookcase in my office here and read the first chapter or the prologue in the first chapter and see what I think. And am I going to keep it or am I going to unhaul it? Let's get into it. Okay, so these books are in no particular order. I have read in either the first chapter or the prologue and the first chapter of all of these. And let's start with the first one. And that is The Renaissance of Gwen Hathaway by Ashley Schumacher. This one I got at my local half-price books, as you can see from the sticker on there. Since her mother's death, Madeline Hathaway has been determined to make sure that nothing in her life will ever change again. That's why she keeps an extensive list of lists and journals, has had only one friend since childhood, and looks forward to the monotony of working the Ren Fair circuit with her father. That is, until she arrives at her mother's favorite end-of-tour stop to find the fair is now under new management and completely changed. Meeting Arthur, the son of a new owner's and actual lute-playing bard, messes up Madeline's plans even more. For some reason, he wants to be her friend, and soon dubs her Gwen, and ropes her into becoming princess of the fair. Now Madeline is overseeing the fair, dramatically changed from what her mother loved and going on road trips, vastly different from the routine she used to rely on. Worst of all, she's kind of having fun. Ashley Schumacher's The Renaissance of Gwen Hathaway is filled with wise old magician who sells potion bottles, gallant knights who are afraid of the horses and ride camels instead, kings with a fondness for theatrics, and a lazy river castle moat with inflatable crocodiles, and a plus-size heroine with a wide-open heart if she would only just admit it. So this book is 308 pages. It came out in 2023. I think I bought it when it was new from my local half-price books. They sell new books and old books, or new and used books. And this one, I read the prologue and fell in love. It starts with the quote, "Ad astra per aspera," which is through hardship to the stars, which is one of my favorite Latin quotes. And there's a flashback told in first-person POV in the prologue. It's intriguing and compelling prose, great writing. I love the writing on this one, and I will keep this one and read it. Next, we have one that I got when I was still getting Book of the Month Club books, and that is The Foxwife by Yangzi Chu. And this one, some people think foxes are similar to ghosts because we go around collecting ki, but nothing could be further from the truth. We are living creatures just like you, only usually better looking. Manchuria, 1908. In the last years of the dying Qing Empire, a courtesan is found frozen in a doorway. Her death is clouded by rumors of foxes, which are believed to lure people by transforming themselves into beautiful women and handsome men. Bao, a detective with an uncanny ability to sniff out the truth, is hired to uncover the dead woman's identity. Since childhood, Bao has been intrigued by the fox gods, yet they've remained tantalizingly out of reach, until perhaps now. Meanwhile, a family who owns a famous Chinese medicine shop that can cure ailments but can't escape the curse that afflicts them. Their eldest sons die before they reach their 24th birthday. When a disruptive, winsome servant named Snow enters the household, the family's luck seems to change. Or does it? Snow is a creature of many secrets, but most of all, her mother seeking vengeance for her lost child. Hunting a murderer, she will follow the trail from northern China to Japan, while Bao follows doggedly behind. Navigating the myths and misconceptions of fox spirits, both Snow and Bao will uncover old friends and new foes, even as more deaths occur. Best-selling author Yangzi Chu brilliantly explores the world of mortals and spirits, humans and beasts, and their dazzling intersection, epic in scope, of the singular, unforgettable characters, the Foxwife, and a stunning novel, and old loves, second chances, depths of maternal love, and ancient folk tales that may very well be true. This one has... Okay, so first impression on this one is came out in 2024. It's 384 pages, and it's got kind of an odd offsetting typeface, like that it's aligned oddly. And like instead of the bit being across the top, it's down the sides. And for the typeface, the typesetting, I'm not sure which you would call that. And it starts in Manchuria 1908. It begins with a Chinese folktale. There's a bride price and prostitution. It was hard to read and even harder to follow, quite possibly because I don't know that much about Asian culture and Asian folklore. But this one, I just couldn't get into it. So this one for me is a declutter. Next, we have Every Gift a Curse by Catherine O'Donoghue. This one came out in 2023. It's 412 pages. It has a great dedication in it, and that is to the unlikable main characters. And this one, the blurb, big changes are happening for Maeve and her tight-knit coven in Kilberg Island. Fiona lands a role on a TV show, Rose Band is poised to break out, and Lily is embracing a bold new style and outlook. Then there's Maeve, whose magic is growing stronger all the time, yet she finds herself increasingly lashing out, doing and saying cruel things without knowing why. When recurring visions drag her into a distant past, one she recognizes as belonging to a dreaded housekeeper, Maeve realizes the power she wields might not be entirely under control. She tries to keep her struggle a secret, even if it means pushing her friends away, but she can't hide what's happening from Aaron, her sometime enemy and fellow sensitive. When Maeve and Aaron realize that vulnerable teenagers are being kidnapped and tortured by a religious cult, the Children of Bridget, it is soon clear that the only way to free the prisoners is to risk letting an older magic consume Maeve. An enthralling story of friendship and identity, this final book in the best-selling trilogy is also the story of being at a crossroads between youth and adulthood and picking a fateful path forward. So this one is part of the Gifts trilogy. I did not realize it was part of a trilogy when I bought it. I don't know. This one has a great dedication. It's got pretty illustrations. It starts with a strong main character, first person point of view, sets up a story that feels worth reading. It's one I want to keep, but I don't want to go out and buy the second two books because I'm trying to whittle down my books. So this one I will keep for now. I don't necessarily want to keep it because it is the third book in a trilogy. I don't necessarily want to hold on to it. But it's got a wonderful cast of characters, it's got strong characters, it's got great writing. Maybe when my book buying ban lifts, I'll find books 1 and 2, read those, and then finally get around to reading this one. Then next we have The Witch and the Tsar by Alicia Salnikova Gilmore. This one came out in 2022. It's got 399 pages. Let's do the blurb. In this stunning debut novel, the maligned and emotional witch of legend known as Baba Yaga will risk all to save her country and her people from the Tsar Ivan the Terrible and the dangerous gods who seek to drive the twisted hearts of men. As a half-goddess possessing magic, Yaga is used to living on her own. Her prior entanglements with mortals have led to heartbreak. She mostly keeps to her hut in the woods, where those in need of healing seek her out, even as they spread rumors about her supposed cruelty and wicked spells. But when her own old friend Anastasia, now wife of the Tsar and suffering from mysterious illness, arrives in her forest desperate for her protection, Yaga realizes the fate of Russia is tied to Anastasia. Yaga must step out of the shadows to protect the land she loves. As she travels to Moscow, Yaga witnesses 16th century Russia on the brink of chaos. Tsar Ivan, soon to become Ivan the Terrible, grows more volatile and tyrannical by the day, and Yaga believes that Tsarista is being poisoned by an unknown enemy. But what Yaga cannot know is that Ivan is being manipulated by powers far older and more fearsome than anyone can imagine. Olesia Salnikova Gilmore weaves a witch tapestry of mythology and Russian history, reclaiming and reinventing the infamous Baba Yaga, and brings to life a vibrant and tumultuous Russia where old gods and new tyrants vie for power. This fierce and compelling best-selling novel draws from timeless lore to create heroine for the modern day, fighting to save her country and those she loves while finding true purpose as a goddess, a witch, and a woman. Yeah, this one has a quote from, it has interesting quotes in it. It's starts out in late May 1560, and I read this one without having read the blurb first. I just jumped in. My notes say, "Is this Baba Yaga and Anastasia? What?" This is 100% a keep and read. I'm remembering now why I picked this one up in the first place. Up next, we have one by an author whose father I adore their writing, whose brother I love his writing, but I haven't read this one. And that is Owen King's The Curator. Start with the blurb. From New York Times bestselling author Owen King comes a Dickensian fantasy of illusion and charm where cats are revered as religious figures, thieves are noble, scholars are revolutionaries, and conjurers are the most wonderful criminals you can imagine. It begins in a city nicknamed the Fairest, distinguished by many things, from its river, the mighty Fair, to the mountains that split the municipality in half, its theaters and many museums, the morgue ship, and, like all cities, but maybe especially so, its essential unmappability. Dora has an obscure desire to find where her brother went after he died, believing that the answers lies within the Society of Piscical Research, where she worked when Dora was a child. With the city amid an overthrow of ruling class, Dora discovers that the society all but burned to the ground, yet finds a way to become the wartime curator of the museum next door and the search for truth. Owen King has crafted an ominous yet delightfully sweeping novel of secret histories, monstrous magic, and revolution, all tied to an obscure little museum whose secrets begin to unfurl with the mysterious history of the city itself. I wanted to love this book so bad. This one, I actually read the first 3 chapters because I'm like, it's going to get better. It's going to get better. And it was intriguing, but very confusing. It's got beautiful illustrations. There are no chapter numbers. It's almost like a series of short stories in how it's put together. Like, you're flipping around and it just feels confusing. The first chapter is titled Maybe Especially So, and it's got beautiful illustrations, but I just could not get into it. And I read the first 3 chapters. I'm like, it's going to get better. It's going to get better. It did not get better. So sadly, this one is a declutter. Next up, we have one that has been in my collection probably the longest without me having had read it. And that is a James Patterson Presents. And that is Gunslinger Girl by Lindsay Ealing. Serendipity Jones, the fastest sharpshooter in tomorrow's West. Serendipity, Pity, Jones inherited 2 things from her mother, a pair of 6-shooters and perfect aim. Those won't get you far on the farming commune, but in the decadent, dangerous city of cessation, a fast draw will buy her freedom. So Pity heads west, where lawlessness is a way of life for those on the losing side of the Second Civil War. She's offered fame and fortune as a sharpshooter in the theater of Vespertine, where she has a chance to make a real home, and where she meets Max, an artistic stagehand who introduces her to a vibrant new world. But there's a dark side to the theater, the finale. Every so often, frightening factions of cessation have to be kept in line with a little demonstration, a nightmare's public execution, and Pity has a starring role. Pity's struggle against the dark and twisted underbelly of Krupp City will haunt you long after the final bullet is shot. This one seemed so much fun, and I picked it up without seeing the little banner across the top that says James Patterson Presents, and every time I went to pick this book up, I would see that little banner, and I'd be like, no. And so I finally sat down to read it. And this one, I only got through part 1, chapter 1, because the dialogue was awkwardly written. It was clunky. It had heavy-handed exposition, like there are characters that just spouted off exposition willy-nilly. And overall, it was disappointing. That I had high hopes for this one until I saw the James Patterson Presents, and then I was like, maybe it's good, maybe it's not. Sadly, this one is another declutter. That is it for the hardcovers, so we get into the paperbacks next. This one is one that I picked up as an impulse buy at my local Barnes & Noble. They had a deal where if you bought 1 paperback, you got a second paperback half price. So I picked up Final Girls by Riley Sager. This one came out in 2017. It's 342 pages. And let's do the book blurb. If you like Gone Girls, you'll like this. Stephen King. 10 years ago, 6 friends went on vacation. One made it out alive. In that instant, college student Quincy Carpenter became a member of a very exclusive club, a group of survivors the press dubbed the Final Girls. Lisa, who lost 9 sorority sisters to a college dropout's knife. Sam, who endured the sack man during her shift at Nightlight Inn. And now Quincy, who ran bleeding through the woods to escape a massacre at Pine Cottage. Despite the media's attempts, the 3 girls have never met. Now Quincy's doing well, maybe even great, thanks to her Xanax prescription. She was carrying Almost Fiancé, popular baking blog, beautiful apartment, and a therapeutic presence in Coop, the police officer who saved her life. He won't let her recall the events of that night. The past is in the past, until the first final girl is found dead in her bathtub, and the second final girl appears on Quincy's doorstep. Blowing through Quincy's life like a hurricane, Sam seems intent on making her relive the trauma of her ordeal. When disturbing details about Lisa's death emerge, Quincy desperately tries to unravel Sam's truth from her lies, while evading both police and bloodthirsty reporters. Quincy knows that in order to survive, she has to remember what really happened at Pine Cottage, because the only thing worse than being a final girl is being a dead one. So this one has a great opening. It's thrilling. It's captivating. It begins with essentially with the flashback at Pine Cottage at 1 a.m. with her escaping. This book is everything I hope Final Girl support group would be, at least in the first chapter. Like, it picked up my attention, it grabbed me around the throat, and dragged me along. Like, this one, I cannot wait to read. This one is obviously a keep and read. And then we have another one that was kind of an impulse buy. This is Their Vicious Games by Janelle Wellington. This one came out in 2023. It's 407 pages. Let's do the book blurb. You must work twice as hard to get half as much. Adina Walker has known this the entire time she's been on a scholarship at the prestigious Edgewater Academy, a school for the uber-rich and mostly white New England upper class. It's why she works so hard to be perfect, above reproach, no matter what she has to force under the surface. Even one slip can cost her everything, and it does. One fight, one moment of lost control leaves Adina blacklisted from her top Ivy League college, and any other. Her choice to regain her the future she's sacrificed everything for is in finish. High-stakes content sponsored by Edgewater's founding family, in which 12 young, ambitious women with exceptional promise are selected to compete in 3 mysterious events: the Ride, the Raid, and the Royale. The winner will be granted entry into the fold of the Remington family, whose wealth and power can open any door. When she arrives at the finish, Adina gets the feeling that something isn't quite right with both the Remingtons and her competition, and soon it becomes clear that this larger-than-life prize can only come at an even greater cost, because the finish's stakes aren't just make or break, it's their life and death. Adina knows the deck is stacked against her, it always has been, but maybe the only way to survive their vicious games is for her to change the rules. This one has very thick prose, it's got clunky writing, the dialogue isn't good. This one is a declutter. I don't know what I was thinking when I bought this one. I think I saw it on Bookstagram and was like, ooh, that could be fun. And it just, The next one we have comes to us from an author whose romantasy I absolutely adored. I loved the first 3 books. I'm impatiently waiting for the 4th one to be written so that I can devour it too. And that is Rebecca Yaros's variation. To heal, you must dive deep. Elite ballerina Ali Rousseau is no stranger to pressure. With her mother's eyes always watching, perfection was expected, no matter the cost. But when an injury jeopardizes all she sacrificed for, Ali returns to her summer home to heal and recover. But the memories she's tried to forget rush in to threaten and take her under. As a Coast Guard rescue swimmer, Hudson Ellis knows that hesitation can mean the difference between life and death. He's always prided himself in being in the right place at the right time, especially when it came to Ali Rousseau, until the night he left for basic. After the biggest regret of his life, the secrets he kept mean he could never be with the woman he wants more than his next breath. When Hudson's niece shows up on Allie's doorstep, desperate to find her birth mother, Allie finds herself in an unimaginable position. Allie and Hudson's past and present might be endlessly complicated. A thread tied to each other all those years ago may have unraveled, but the truth can pull them back together or drive them further apart. So it begins with a flashback in I didn't really care. It's Cape Cod rescue boat gone wrong. It's good writing, but very boring. Like, nothing really happened in the first chapter. I read part of the second chapter and it still felt like nothing was happening, which compared to the Empyrean series, that being Fourth Wing, there was something happening on every page. This just felt thick and not in a good way. So this one is a declutter. And then the last one that I have on this stack is Margot's Got Money Troubles by Rufi Thorpe. This one came out in 2024, 294 pages. A bold, laugh-out-loud, funny, and heartwarming story about one young woman's attempt to navigate adulthood, new motherhood, and her meager bank account in our increasingly online world, from the Penn Faulkner finalist and critically acclaimed author of The Knockout Queen. As the child of a Hooters waitress and an ex-pro wrestler, Margot Millet's always known she'd have to make it on her own. She enrolls at her local junior college even though she can't imagine how she'll ever make a living. She's still figuring things out, never planned to have an affair with her English professor, and while the affair is brief, it isn't brief enough to keep her from getting pregnant. Despite everyone's advice, she decides to keep the baby, mostly out of naivete and a yearning for something bigger. Now at 20, Margot is alone with an infant, unemployed, on the verge of eviction. She needs a cash infusion. Fast. When her estranged father, Jake, shows up on her doorstep and asks to move in with her, she agrees in exchange for help with childcare. Then Margot begins to form a plan. She'll start an OnlyFans as an experiment. She soon finds herself adapting to some of Jinx's advice from the world of wrestling, like how to craft a compelling character and make your audience fall in love with you. Before she knows it, she's turned into a runaway success. Could this be the answer to all of Margot's problems? Or does the internet fame come at too high a price? Blisteringly funny and filled with sharp insight, Margot's Got Money Problems is a tender tale starring an endearing young heroine who's struggling to wrest money and power from a world that has little interest in giving it to her. It's playful and honest examination of the art of storytelling, combining your own narrative and empowering portrait of coming into your own, both online and off. So this book starts with an introduction, warns that the book might just be bad. This book has an opening paragraph that essentially warns you that the book is going to be bad. It's very meta, maybe it's too highbrow for me, but it wasn't entertaining. The characters are just cruel to the main character. Like, the supporting characters were just cruel to her. And I didn't find it funny. I found it just cruel. Like, hurtful and mean. And honestly, the writing wasn't that great. So this one, another declutter. So that leaves us with 4 books that I'm keeping, 6 books that I'm getting rid of, and yeah, that's 6 spaces on my bookshelf that I'm getting back. Have you tried this? Do you have books that have just been on your TBR stack for way too long without you having read them? Maybe this is something that you'd be interested in trying. If not, let me know why. Do you think you can... Am I wrong about any of these books? Do they need more than a chapter for me to slip into them? Should I go back and find the other 2 for the gift trilogy, for the Every Gift a Curse book? Let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.